I'm going to show you how to get flights anywhere in the world for cheaper than your groceries that you do every week. So we're going to start with Google Chrome because we're going to be using Google Flights to search. So we're going to right click and we're going to click on New Incognito window. So this makes sure that none of the cookies are tracked, so our browsing history, site information is nowhere saved and untrackable. So that way, if you're looking at an airline, you're trying to compare flights on different websites, they're not going to find out. So we're going to go to Google Flights and you enter in flights and we're going to click on the link Google Flights. So I live in Massachusetts. The closest international airport to me is Boston Logan Airport. So we're just going to start there. I'm going to leave this section blank and I'm going to leave this date here. We're going to change that in a little bit. We're just going to click search just to check out what our options are. So first it's going to take you to the flights available between these dates, between these prices. So what we're going to do is we're going to click on the little calendar and we're going to click on flexible dates and we're going to leave this all in 1 week. Just to get an idea of 1 week trips in the next 6 months, and that's a perfect time frame. So we're going to click done and we can see that flights to the East Coast definitely dropped. So if we were trying to head over to California or Las Vegas, that significantly dropped like by $100. So this is kind of anywhere in the world that you can go. Anywhere in the States where you can go. And again, like you can fly from Boston to Chicago, Miami for less than $100, cheaper than groceries. But let's say you want to take a 1 week trip anywhere in the next 6 months, but you don't want to stay in the US. So let's click the minus button so we can zoom out and see what's available. So if we scoot over here, we can see that we can also fly to London for $153, and that's super cheap. So we're gonna click on that. And if you know anything about traveling within Europe, you can take a train that will take you anywhere else and connect you anywhere across Europe. So yes, you're entering Europe for $153, but literally that can take you anywhere, and that's round trip. So right on the side we see we're flying through Play, so we're just gonna click on this. And we get more detailed information if we click the little caret down. So that means we're flying from Boston at 7 p.m. on Friday, May 13th, and arriving local time 4:30 a.m. It's a 5.5 hour flight, so not too bad. There's a 2-hour layover, so that gives us enough time to go through immigration in Europe and get some snacks. And then our flight leaves at 6:30 a.m. and arriving at London 10:30 a.m. local time. So let's click on this. This sounds like a good flight. We're traveling for what, 5, 6, 7, 8.5 hours to London, plus the 2 hours, 10-ish hours. So that's pretty good. So we're just gonna check the details one more time. Everything looks great. The return flight, it's pretty similar. 11:35, you're leaving London and arriving to KEF at 1:30 p.m. 3-hour trip with an 1.5 hour layover to grab snacks or whatever. Get a good stretch in there before the longer trip from KEF to Boston back home, which is a 6-hour trip. Leaving KEF at 3:30, arriving at 5:35. So we're gonna click on this one because that looks like a great deal. So there we go. Total price $153 between Friday, May 13th, returning on Thursday, May 19th. That's great, and it gives you some more information about carry-on bags and checked bags, so that's awesome. You can go ahead and book through Play, still for the same price, or if you have other accounts through like Flight Hub or Booking.com or Trip.com and you have points that you want to use or Cure, you can definitely go through those sites, but they're just going to be a little bit more expensive, so just keep that in mind. So let's go back and let's say that there's a certain place you want to go to and you're just trying to get like the cheapest flight. So let's say I want to go from Boston to Dominican Republic. I want to go visit my family and I'm just trying to get an estimate of like, the feel for the land, how much flights are for. So this time I'm going to click on the little calendar and I'm going to click reset because I don't really have a date in mind. I just kind of want to just go for the cheapest time out there. So I'm going to look around and see that in green, those are the cheapest dates available. So I'm going to click February 22nd, 2022, and I want to travel, let's say, I want to stay in the 200 range. So I'm going to travel for a week. So I'm going from the 22nd to the 1st of March. We're going to click done and everything pops up. So we're just going to scroll down. So the cheapest flight is not good. You can see that this is a 27-hour flight. Not what I'm looking for, with a one stop somewhere in San Juan, which honestly doesn't seem too bad because you can stay in San Juan for 21 hours and go explore the land and then come back and catch your flight at 2:40 p.m. But that's not really what I'm trying to do, so I'm gonna go back and I'm gonna play around with the settings. I do not want any layovers, or actually I do want a layover, but I don't want it to be more than 2 hours because I want to remember to keep this as open and as cheap as possible. And if there is a layover, I want it to have one stop or fewer. So right now it's going to show me any flights that have one stop or fewer, so including direct or one stop flights with a 2-hour layover, and that's fine for me. I kind of need to stretch my legs and everything. So now I have new prices, and the ones in the green are the ones that are the cheapest out of all the options that are here. So taking a look, this is not bad. I can get a flight to Boston to DR with a layover in JFK for $394, but if I want to pay like $7 extra, I can get a non-stop flight to DR, which is really, really great. But let's say I'm on a budget, right? I'm actually looking for a flight round trip that's $200. So I'm gonna change the price to $200, right? Nothing pops up. So we're just gonna exit that. Let's try, I don't want to pay more than $400. I guess it won't let me change the price. So it gives me, oh, this doesn't really give me any options. Oh, let's reset the dates. So we're gonna reset the dates. And this is showing me all the options here for under $400. And this is what I like, and this is what I want to do. So we're just gonna click again on a random date. Find 279 is the price point that I want to do. Click next, and then all those flights come up here. Again, it's not gonna be the best because, you know, who wants to take a trip to DR for 7 hours? So you can also change the duration of your flight. Let's say you don't want anything longer than let's say 5 hours. So then anything under 5 hours pops here. Other options you have are the airlines. If there's an airline you don't want to fly with, or an airline that you do want to exclusively fly with, it'll check for you. So it's automatically set to check our airlines just to make sure you get the best price. We're going to uncheck that because I just want to fly through American Airlines, let's say, right? I don't get any of these options in that category range that I selected. So with the options that I selected, I don't get that. So I'm just going to leave this at all airlines. You definitely, if you're planning on going with bags, you can check bags. Some airlines let you fly with them, some don't. So definitely good to check, but I would check the actual website and not so much Google Flights for this. And with times, you can select what time you want to leave. So example, it'll check any flights that are leaving between 1 p.m. to 12 a.m. from Boston and arriving anytime between, let's say, 12 a.m. to 10 a.m., whatever option you want. So the more options you have, the more restricted availability you have, but it does keep in mind the price point that you want to keep it with. If you're not in a rush to buy flights, I highly suggest you click this button right here to track prices. So what it's going to do is it's going to show you all of any price alerts that's happening. So if there's a price drop or a price increase for the dates that you're trying to travel, it will show you and send you an email. These other two options are other ways to search. So you have the date grid. And within the month that you're looking for, you can play around with this and say, I want to travel on Wednesday the 19th, but I only want to do, you know, anything that's leaving. I guess this is the only option. Thursday, January 27th or the 28th. So it lets you kind of play around. This is more fuller, I should say, but because we have a lot of the restrictions on the screen behind us, it's going to change things a little bit. And you also have the price graph. So with this, you can kind of play around with the trip length. So if you want to go for an 8-day trip, 9-day trip, whatever. But this is going to show you all the flights available if you're flying between these dates. Let's say this is the lowest price, starting at $389 if you're traveling from January 23rd through February 1st. And that's a 9-day trip. So it's kind of going to tell you everything that's going on. And if there are no flights within the restrictions that you selected and the options you selected in the other screen, it's going to tell you that there's no flights available. So that's that. That's how you travel the world for cheaper than groceries. So if you love this stuff, go ahead and click the subscribe button to Lisanna Does Things. I cover all things beauty and glam, from skincare routine, product reviews, and little things like this to make sure that you're living your best life and making 2022 the best year possible. Thank you so much, dolls. I'll see you in my next video.